Well, hello everybody. I'm Dr. Glenn Harrison and welcome to this week's segment of Why. This is where we take just a few minutes to answer some of the most common health-related questions that I see in my office every day. The question is, Dr. Harrison, how badly does stress really affect my health? Because, I'm going through a lot of stress. Well, to summarize, there is nothing more damaging to your body than stress. But stress might be more than what you think stress is. Stress is really stress can be anything. It could be an emotional stress, like we tend to use the word describing stress as. It could be emotional stress, but it could be physical stress, and it could be chemical stress. Any of those three will affect the body the same way. The body doesn't know the difference between a physical stress, a chemical stress, or an emotional stress, and it responds the same way. So whether you are running away from a bear, that should be a stressful event, or you have a parasitic infection or a bacterial infection or a heated argument with your loved one, any one of those, the body will respond the same. So don't ignore and don't only think about emotional stressors, okay? So there's nothing worse on the body. Stress does a few things. Stress, one major thing that it'll do, it'll drive inflammation in the body. This is the silent killer of the body, inflammation. And inflammation is everywhere in your body. You're irritating your body with these stressors, a physical stress, a chemical stress, or an emotional stress. One thing we'll see is some people, this systemic inflammation, global inflammation, will create digestive problems. So you see a lot of digestive problems with any of these ongoing stressors that last for months or weeks. Another one we'll see is elevated toxins in the body. When we are inflamed via inflammation, stress creating inflammation, you'll see the digestive issues and then the toxins. When we are in a stress state and we sweat, our sweat smells much more potent than if we're exercising. It's because stress creates more toxins in the body. So that's another piece to it, and that drives inflammation. You'll see a lot of brain fog with inflammation, inability to concentrate, focus, even early stage dementia from stress causing enough brain inflammation. So don't ignore it. And then another one we'll see is high levels of cholesterol. So cholesterol and risk of heart disease and stroke, it's all about inflammation. It's not about avoiding high cholesterol foods. It's about inflammation. Inflammation will rise your cholesterol levels and put you at those high risks. So inflammation is one thing that stress that will be caused from stress. Another thing that stress does is it drives your blood sugar. So when you're in a stressful event, you need an on-demand fuel source. You need that fuel source to get you through the stressful event. So think of running away from that bear. You need a fuel source to get away from the bear. But when blood sugar comes up, if you're always running away from a bear, figuratively speaking, your blood sugar tends to stay up. And if it stays up long enough, it can cause damage to your body, like a diabetic. In fact, there's a study, and it was an experiment. It was redone multiple times, and they had two groups of lab rats. One group, and on the same diet, but one group of lab rats, they administered little electrical shocks. They were stressing them, physical stress probably, but maybe even emotional stress. Over time, that group of lab rats that was shocked, they developed diabetes. They induced diabetes in lab rats by putting them through a stress. High blood sugar for a long time. The other group that wasn't shocked, they never had diabetes. So don't underestimate the power of stress and blood sugar. And then another one is it suppresses the immune system. If you know of anybody dealing with a lot of physical stressors, chemical stressors, emotional stressors, and this could be pain. Pain is a stress. Any organ system dysfunction is a stress on the body. Somebody who's dealing with that, there's a very good chance they're going to be immunosuppressed, meaning they're going to acquire more colds and more flus and more sicknesses more frequently than the people they're around, and then it's going to be harder for them to get out of it, to recover. So we will see this. Another thing that we'll see with people dealing with a lot of stress is it'll drop their energy. Maybe you've experienced this, most people have. If they went through a really heavy, emotionally stressful situation, and you could have it with physical and chemical as well. But if there's most commonly we experience these emotional events. If you've had that, you've probably felt extremely exhausted after. Of course, stress pulls energy. Low energy is the most common symptom that comes in my office. And there's a reason, because they're struggling with a physical stress, a chemical stress, or an emotional stress. So don't ignore all these other stressors on the body. So I hope that was helpful. I know the world of stress is a big thing, but if it's chronic and long lasting, that is the most damaging thing to your body. I've seen blood before and after we pull even just emotional stress out of their life, and their blood chemistry turns right around from it. So it is powerful. It is very powerful. If you know of anybody dealing with this, send them this video. Hopefully it gives them some insight. And if you yourself or someone you know that is struggling, trying to identify what stressors, physical stressors or imbalances in the body that are causing problems, we can help. In our clinic, we're working with the physical and the chemical stressors. When we get that under control, usually the emotional stressors either subside significantly or disappear altogether. If there's anything remaining, well, then we refer that out. But we can work with anybody within the country or even out of the country with this. We can work remotely. So anyway, I hope that was helpful. I look forward to talking to you next day, where we're going to answer the why to another health-related question. Have a great day.